Hey guys, hey guys, hey guys, hey, 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 hey. Hello, foodie booties. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach. This is Potato, who, by the way, I know I posted on the internet that he was having some tummy issues. He wasn't feeling good. We took him to the vet. I think it's just like some run-of-the-mill GI irritation. And I think he's feeling better. We got him on some probiotics. He's been eating a bland diet. And it seems like things are getting back to a little bit normal. But just in case you're wondering about old Puss-a-Doodle-Doo back here, he's doing okay. But what we're here to do today is to talk about the one, the only, Chantal Marie, Chantal Show, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, Big Beautiful Me, Foodie Beauty, Flobby Bobby, Chantal Arafe, Chantal Period, Foodie Dookie. Whatever it is we're calling her today. I swear, people are always like, how do you remember all of them? Well, listen, that is hardly all of them. That's hardly all of her names. I'm positive at this point I've forgotten some along the way, and RIP to those that have been forgotten, because I can't honestly be that bothered to keep up with all of her names. But yes, we are talking about Chantal Marie today. That's where we're going. It has been a while. I didn't check before I started filming to see how long it's been since the last time we chatted about Chantal over here. But I do think it's at least been since Poopgate. I think it's at least been since old Sala got caught with his little poop interest and enjoyment. And that's because she ran back to Kuwait to go stand by her man. Well, you know what? I think I did a video about how she said that he was no longer going to be on her channel. I think that's the last video that I did about her. And honestly, ever since then, it's been, in my opinion, like kind of boring from whenever I popped in. She's still eating food on camera. Things are a little bit more interesting. She did do a little bit of raging this past weekend, and that's really what I think the bulk of our conversation is going to be about today. I'm going to do, I used to do some dramatic ratings of posts from her on her community tab, and it's been a while since I did that, and she had a lot of them in recent history. So I think we're going to take a look at that, and in general, just talk a little bit about her projection, because the thing is that there are things about people who react to her that she could probably say, I mean, myself included, that she could probably critique and like, maybe not be good critiques, but be reasonable critiques. But for whatever reason, she tends to veer towards like using insults that could easily be applied to herself. She projects a lot of things onto the people that are insulting her, criticizing her, whoever, whatever. And I just find that really fascinating, that almost all of the things that she could say, it's either like, here are her two go-tos. Her go-tos are like, I'm gonna insult you for something that also applies to me, or it's just like extreme bigotry, like saying hateful things about like their marginalized identities, okay? So that's usually the two levels of insults that Chantal has available to her in her arsenal. Like, she's not a very funny person, and so she relies on using insults that have been used on her or bigotry. And a good example of this is actually a live stream. This live stream is old, and people had tagged me in the conversation about it on Twitter, I think specifically, back when it happened on, I think she uploaded this or did this live stream on January 20th. And as you know, I took a week-long break in support of the global strike for Palestine. And so I didn't respond to it because I was not making videos really in general. I made one video here on YouTube, and that was mostly so I could talk about the strike. And so I do acknowledge that this is like a little bit old news, but I think it's a good place for us to start when we think about the ways that Chantal tries to come for reaction channels, her haters, or I was gonna say, I don't know if I'm a hater, but when it comes to Chantal, I think I'm probably probably a hater for sure. So she was doing a live stream, and she does recently especially spend a lot of her live streams talking about other reaction channels, I think mostly because she does try to interact with the people who are in her chat, and I think the people in her chat try to like goad her and instigate her and try to get her to start talking shit about the reaction channels because they want that as entertainment. I don't know if she realizes that, like, her chat enables that behavior that gets her fired up, but that's my take on it. Like, I was looking at what people were saying in this chat, and they were definitely, like, instigating stuff and, like, trying to get her worked up about people. And so specifically about me, she took some time. She was, in general, I think, talking about how all reaction channels, like, their content is garbage. I think she mentioned something about Alex is shook and not having good content. And then she goes on to talk about me specifically, and she brings up a clip that she saw of me talking about Amberlynn's, like, frozen hamburger patties that had Vidalia onions on it.
Did you see Zachary Michael talking about acting like a weird, I don't know, I saw a clip of him, like, talking about Amberlynn liking beef patties with Vidalia onions.
I think for context, I'll just show what my response was to the burger in question. I don't think it was anything crazy or saying that Amberlynn was a bad person for it. It was just like my thought while the video was happening.
I don't know about you, but I normally do not eat things like this. I normally always get, like, turkey burgers. But for some reason, Vidalia, probably pronouncing that wrong, onion beef patties just sounded so good.
Sounds so good. Nothing more appetizing than the word beef patties, honestly. When she just said the word beef patties, my mouth started watering. And a Vidalia onion, I think it is Vidalia, but honestly, I'm not really sure, so she could be right too. But even, just onion beef patties. Just forget the word we're not sure how to pronounce. Onion beef patties. Doesn't that just, get you a little wet? Oh, God, why did I say the word wet?
And I had one last night. Absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
And I put some shredded cheese on top. And it melted and it was delicious. So I'm actually about to make one right now.
I'm curious, it's probably just the patty, right? I'm just confused a little bit because of the picture next to it. Is this like a frozen, is everything, it's probably not on a bun. It's really probably just the patty, right? I'm sounding so stupid, but I've never bought an onion beef patty like this. Are the onions in the patty? And that's the case for most things with Amberlynn. Like, I don't have an issue with most of her content. Most of her content is just, like, boring, mundane things, and I enjoy watching that. That's why on my Twitch channel and my Twitch re-upload channel, I watch people do mundane things all the time. I love to watch somebody do a Dollar Tree haul. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I have thoughts and opinions about it, but I don't think that hamburger patty in particular makes Amberlynn the worst person in the world. There's plenty of things that probably do make Amberlynn a not great person, but that hamburger patty was not one of them. Anyways, that's besides the point. I don't even know why I focus so much on that stupid hamburger patty, because the point is that she follows it up and says that my content is bad and that I shouldn't be talking about Amberlynn Reed because I have a camel toe.
Like, these people's content is dog crap. They have nothing. Nothing. And what are you talking about Amberlynn for? You have camel toe.
And I don't know why we're trying to, like, keep people with camel toes from talking. I don't know why people with camel toes aren't allowed to have free speech. But here we are, I guess because there was that one photo where you could see the outline of my junk. that gives me no right to talk about anybody on the internet. How dare you, person with a camel toe? How dare you talk about people on the internet? But that's also besides the point, because then she goes on, because people in her chat were goading her to talk about the weight I've gained and me being fat.
You put on a lot of weight. Karma. For always talking about overweight people, this is what's gonna happen to you.
And it's always so interesting, like, there's, in this quarter of the internet, when it comes to reaction channels and Chantal or Amberlynn, there has always been a long conversation about who's allowed to talk about fat people and who isn't. And there seems to be, especially usually from Chantal specifically, this, like, argument that fat people shouldn't be allowed to comment on Chantal or what Chantal is doing on the internet or this, that, the other. And here's what I'm here to tell you. I have never denied being a fat person, an overweight person. I think I literally have the word chubby in my Twitter bio to describe me. I've always been somebody of a certain size. And I honestly found Amberlynn, as I've said many times on my channel, because I was looking for people who are on a weight loss journey, and I was looking for people who were queer, and Amberlynn fit both of those bills and tickets. And then it's because of Amberlynn that I started getting suggested Chantal content, and that's how I found Chantal. So in a way, I found both of them because originally I was looking for folks who were losing weight because I was also trying to lose weight at the time. I've never denied those things. I've never tried to act like I'm not a chubby, overweight person. I have a myriad of thoughts on my own weight and things like that. And you could call me fat all day on the internet, and that's fine because it's, I mean, at least partially true, right? Like I'm not in denial that I don't have a little bit of a double chin, a belly, moobs, whatever you want to say. Unlike Chantal, I really don't think that being fat is the worst thing that you can be. Now, we're going to come back to that. We're going to circle around to that. Now, what I do find interesting is that she has this thing where she's like, gaining weight is karma for all this time you spent on the internet talking about fat people. Because, listen, I don't spend a lot of time actually criticizing Chantal or Amberlynn for being fat. I want the best for both of them. I am worried about Chantal's health from the things that she herself has shared. I don't think she's taking her health very seriously. But I haven't, I really truly don't believe that the worst thing about Chantal is that she's fat. And I rarely comment on her being fat. I rarely comment on Amberlynn being fat. It's just not something that I do over here. So let me say that first, but then let me follow it up with, if me gaining weight over my 6 or 7 years on YouTube is karma, I say this with all the peace and love that I can. What would you say that you've been doing on the internet? What do we call, if it's karma for me, what do we call you and your weight situation on the internet then? Like, I would like to know more about that. Tell me more about that, because one thing that's just so wild to me is Chantal is this person that doesn't think that fat people should be able to comment on her, but she's ready to comment on everybody else being fat. And it just really doesn't make sense to me, because clearly, for better or worse, Chantal is fat. And I don't use that in a negative way. I'm just stating the facts of the facts, okay? And she certainly hasn't lost weight since she's been on the internet, okay? like, so I don't understand all these, stones being thrown in the glass house that you live in. And for what it's worth, I think fat people are probably the most equipped to talk about what other fat people are doing. To be honest, I don't know, as a fat person, if I want to listen to what a skinny person has to say about my weight. But again, I'm not one of these people that are out here talking about Chantal being fat in a negative way. So it is what it is. Anyways, I told you to hold on to the part about being fat not being the worst thing that Chantal could be. And she actually says something about that.
They think that being fat is the worst thing you can be. I'm definitely not fat. Okay, so what does that make you a good person? Does that make you a beautiful person? No, it doesn't. You look like a Bigfoot and you sound like Hulk Hogan. I know I'm a bitch. I feel bad for saying that, but...
So it's interesting to me that she wants to parade around and be like, fat's not the worst thing you could be. But then that's her go-to insult for me. We'll see later when I read these community tab posts for other reaction channels. She loves to call somebody fat. And let's also be honest that the worst thing about Chantal is not that she's fat. There are easily plenty of other things that make Chantal an awful, horrible human, including that she's ableist, she's racist, she's homophobic, transphobic. She's about every kind of bigot you can be. And then she also doubles back on this calling people fat thing by saying that it allegedly doesn't matter if you're fat, she just wants you to turn on your camera.
The haters channels have to be the most unattractive people inside and out. Yes, teardrop, exactly. And normally, I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're fat, but don't come for me over and over. I'm going to point out, dude, you need to turn your camera on and get a mirror. Hello? And
to that extent, I will agree. Y'all know I have a little bit of an unpopular opinion on this corner of the internet that if you're going to get on the internet and you're gonna come on a video and you're gonna sit here and criticize the way that Chantal looks, I think you should be opening up yourself to that criticism too. That's why I'm fine if you want to call me fat. I mean, I don't say that about Chantal, but I come on to Al Gore's internet and acknowledge that, like, I'm presenting myself. There's going to be some people who have thoughts about the way that I look, you know? So I really do think she's right about that. But what's funny about that, and we'll get to this too, but she's currently in her bedbound era. That's her own words, not mine, okay? She's in her bedbound era and she refuses to come on camera now herself. So it's very funny to me that in a week's time she's out here telling people they need to cam up, and she's already posted like multiple videos and live streams where she doesn't come on camera because she's stuck in her bed. So anyways, that's just a quick interlude into the larger, well, I say the larger point, but I just realized I spent 15 and a half minutes so far talking about old Chantal, talking about me on her live stream, and I didn't think I was gonna spend that much time. So let me just get into these community tab posts where she is raging about reaction channels, because I just think it continues to be more projection, more bigotry. There's some bigotry involved in it today. So let's just get to that, shall we? So I will note that I'm getting these archived community tab posts because they have been deleted, I'm pretty sure. I'm getting them from a Twitter user named Shenanigans. I've referenced them before, and typically I do leave them linked down in the description box down below if you want to go follow Shenanigans on Twitter, amongst some other great people who are archiving stuff on Twitter. It's a good place if you can't keep up with the posts and deletions and things like that from Chantal's actual channel. There are all kinds of people documenting it on Twitter. So one thing you need to know is that once upon a time, Chantal, multiple times actually, but in recent history, Chantal decided she was gonna start a reaction channel where she reacted to people reacting to her. But she gave up pretty quickly, and this community tab post is about that. Ugh. So I tried once again to do a reaction, but most of the ones I try and listen to either sound like the Wicked Witch of the East and West, or Marge Simpson's long lost sisters, not to mention the sheer stupidity and the lost brain cells, ... Ah! I just can't do it, LOL. I don't know how so many can listen to that for 2 or more hours. Insane. I'll just focus on myself like everyone suggested and leave them to stay obsessed about me. Meanwhile, not even acknowledging they exist. She doesn't do a good job of that. Just wait for the future community tab posts I'm gonna read, because she definitely acknowledges that they exist. In the end, it's hardly a flex, since most of them are too cowardly to cam up when talking smack on others. She's not wrong about that. Couldn't be me. Anyway, the bright side is, any attention is good attention. New motto for this year. Alright girl, whatever you say. See you soon in a new video coming later today. Miss ya, Beezers! That's wild. I don't know that she should be looking for just any kind of attention. I don't know that that's been working out for her, to be honest with you. She's getting a lot of not great attention, and it's certainly not helping her views in any form. So then she shares a post from YouTube Underground, aka Yaba, and I think I don't keep up with this quarter of the internet, okay? I think Yaba's been in some kind of, like, battle with some other maybe reaction channels. Again, I don't know the details of it, but Yaba made a post about that. At least that's what I'm assuming this post is about, that said, I'd like to take this time to apologize for my unprofessional behavior lately. I will get back to staying focused. Watching a death fat, aka I think she's referring to Chantal, eat herself to death and planning her memorial. Hashtag ready set bees. Sincerely, unhinged trash. Actually, that looks like that could have been a tweet from Yaba. I'm not entirely sure where that originally comes from or how Chantal stumbled upon it, but that was a part of a community tab post, and this was Chantal's commentary on it. This immoral cow has children. Oh, I forgot that's another low blow that Chantal likes to go for, is like coming for people who are parents and their children and things like that. That's a long-standing thing Chantal's done for a long time. Way back to when I first started watching her, she had made some threats about calling CPS on, like, a real-life friend because the real-life friend, like, did her dirty or something like that. So that's always something that Chantal likes to come for. But anyways, this immoral cow has children. Imagine raising kids and planning an unalive person's funeral. Never call me vile again. An unalive person's funeral. I mean, I know that Yabo in the original post was talking about how Chantal was, like, actively working towards death or whatever. But I don't, did I miss that? Let me go back. Oh, it does say planning her memorial. Okay, my attention span, my memory, not great, because I literally just read that. Alright. Okay, never call me vile again. Cam up, coward, and show us how you don't also stuff your face. Loser. The only thing you care about is losing money, not your audience. Without me, you and your trashy girlfriend are nothing. If I die, so does your pathetic channel. Also, your baby daddy was a meth addict, and you have the nerve to make fun of my addictions. So it's like, where do you start with that? Because one, she goes after Yaba's ability to be a parent, which, to be honest, I don't know if I know a lot about, but, like, doesn't seem relevant to the things that Yaba was talking about in that post. The cam up thing, but I mean, like, at some point you can only say so much about telling people to cam up, right? Like, like, we get it. You think they should cam up. They're probably not going to. They're probably not going to at this point. Let's just be honest. I think some of these people have no intentions of ever coming on camera again, and as much as I agree or disagree with it, like, that is their prerogative at the end of the day. You know, the only thing you care about is losing money. That's not the worst thing in this post, so we'll keep going. Without me, you and your trashy girlfriend are nothing. That may be true, but also, if I recall, I think Sam's channel is not about Chantal at all. I feel like Yaba's girlfriend Sam talks about other people, so I don't know about that. I think they might still find a way to be relevant. Because I also have to say, I knew about Yaba before she ever came into, like, this quarter of the internet. When she was doing other content, I was aware that she existed. So she had an existence before Chantal. I imagine she'll find some kind of way to have an existence after. I think that is, like, a misconception about a lot of reaction channels. I think there's this, like, argument of, like, you wouldn't exist without XYZ person you react to. But I feel like most of us would find a way. And if not, like, most of us would have other things we could do in our lives if YouTube stopped being productive. If I die, so does your pathetic channel. That is a fascinating argument. That feels like such a weird flex to be like, yeah, I might die, but then what would your channel do? Well, at least she'd still have her life, I guess. I don't know. And then the last part about coming for her baby daddy being a meth addict is also interesting to me. Like, these low blows about addiction are really fascinating to me because Chantal is somebody who's come on to her platform and talked about her own addictions and her own problems with drugs and things like that. And it's just like, I don't know, for me, if I'd been in that place, I would probably never want to come for another person who's also in that place. Like, come for something else, you know? And that's what I don't... That's the thing about Chantal. She's always ready to project her own problems and insecurities onto somebody else. And it's only wild to me because she loves to talk about how people are insensitive about her relationship with addiction and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, if you want people to be understanding, you gotta practice some of that understanding yourself. So this is another post about Yaba and her girlfriend Sam. She says, oh, scam and blabba. So if you at Team YouTube suggesting they take down Original Al's channel, I don't know what any of that's about, for talking about a mentally unstable woman, what do you think they should do with your Scissor Sisters channel for literally planning the funeral of someone suffering from mental illness, food addiction, and an ED? Maybe we should find out. And honestly, it sounds like, I don't know what all the other stuff about. I think all of those things sound, I guess, like maybe somewhat logically sound. I don't know. I'm hesitant to say that about anything that Chantal posts, but the real part that I wanted to include about this is the part where she says scissor sisters, okay? Because, okay, first of all, scissoring is something that is a sexual act that lesbians may partake in. I don't know. Personally, I have various lesbian friends who say that, like, most of the time they're not scissoring, okay? But regardless, it's a sexual act that lesbians partake in or may partake in. It's so weird to me that the homophobia jumped out of Chantal and that we're supposed to think that this is some kind of insult, something that would make Sam and Yabba bad, you know? Like, of all the things that you want to talk about, again, this is my point when it comes to Chantal, is that there probably are things that you could criticize about any of the reaction channels that would probably be valid and sound, but then you have to take it to this level where you're, like, insulting them for what? Being gay? For being gay, you homophobe? Again, you're a bigot, Chantal. So your go-tos are projecting your own insecurities, calling CPS, or insulting somebody's ability to parent, and now, of course, the bigotry. This is where the bigotry comes in, Chantal. You're a bigot. When I say that there's worse things about you than being fat, that's what I mean. You're a bigot. She also made an edit to that post, so I'll share that with you as well, just to make sure you get the full story from Chantal. She said, edit. Also, Blabba likes to sit there and say, I don't have an ED when I've shown medical records that I sought treatment at an outpatient eating disorder clinic, and the doctor says I have binge eating disorder in the report assessment. That's how narcissistic these morons are, thinking they know more about my life than my actual former doctor. I don't know. I guess that's fair too. She wants to defend that she has an eating disorder, but it's just making me think about, let me go back to that post. What was it that she said in one of those earlier posts? She said, I'll just focus on myself like everyone suggested and leave them to stay obsessed about me, meanwhile not even acknowledging they exist. She's doing a great job. She just excellent work. 10 out of 10, no notes on keeping to yourself. This post is about French Fried Girl FFG and she says, LOL, imagine raging every night to 5,000 people about the same person over and over and then say, I'm being mad? Oh, I'm big mad. Hey, if it be too, if this was me. Hey, if be too, if this was me. She needs to slow down the rage and proofread. I think what she meant is, hey, I'd be too if this was me. You can make poop joked all you want. You know she is raging, because what is with all these typos? You can make poop joked all you want, but truth is some poop would actually improve how you look at this point. Woo! That's quite the statement. That's quite the statement. How about you go ask Sala if that would help how you look, okay, bestie? Again, I don't understand why she's coming. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The things that Chantal and FFG insult each other about, like their looks, their weight, their whoever, whatever, they could be family, okay, besties? I don't understand this concept of coming for each other's looks when they could be related. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Y'all are fucking the pot calling the kettle black. Why couldn't... Listen, I'm raging. I'm foodie beauty. I'm upset. I can't get my sayings right. But you know what I'm saying. Oh, and she edited this post too. This is what I learned when I'm just scrolling through shenanigans Twitter. Okay? She edited those posts as well. So she also added, and to those thinking I clap back because I'm jealous of her views, no one watches her. That's evident in her 2,000 view vlogs. Nah, I clap back because she's a fat hypocrite. And what does that make you, bestie? What does that make you? Should we go back and read what I read earlier about you minding your business, not acknowledging that these people exist? Even if she had 100,000 views per video, you couldn't pay me enough to trade lives with someone who is miserable and lonely and has to ride the back of another person for clout and go to Cornwall for Valentine's Day and hang out with Shannon, LOL. Isn't Chantal the one that lives in Cornwall or used to live in Cornwall? Why is she talking about that being a bad place to spend Valentine's Day? Maybe hanging out with Shannon, but like, that's your hometown. Why are you talking about it like that, girl? And maybe it's not her hometown. I don't know. I know it's somewhere she herself has spent a lot of time, though. Her channel is a ticking time bomb. She barely has any subscribers compared to most YouTubers, and she'll never be anything on her own without obsessively hating on me. This is it for you until YouTube bans your channel for bullying and harassment. I'd rather also be dirt poor. I can't talk today. Chantal's got me fucked up. I'm reading too many of her posts. I'm taking on her problems and her issues. I'd rather also be dirt poor than look like her. I feel like, aren't you dirt poor? And you do kind of look like her. I think you're already there for both. Oh my god. I can't read these words. She's sorry, but she's a miserable, fat cunt. Listen, my mom doesn't have a problem with me cussing. She's told me when I was a teenager in high school that it was okay for me to say almost any cuss word, but if I ever said the cunt word, she would be so upset with me. And it shows on her ugly mug. If anyone has to pay for love, it would be her. I'm just fine with having my own content, looking way better, and still making thousands a month. Thank you very much. The only one mad is the sow raging every day on her pathetic channel. And again, like, calling people fat animal names is just like, Chantal, were you not the one that was so upset about Charlie Gold calling you pig mad? Was that not you? And now you're over here calling FFG a sow? like you can't be serious. You just can't be serious right now. And then, of course, she's now returned to not giving other people attention. I'm just gonna share this community tab post really quick because she said, glow up arc step number 1. Never give energy/attention to haters. She did so good. I'm like, let me check my notes on my Apple Watch. I don't have notes on my Apple Watch, but let me check my notes. You're doing a great job of never giving energy and attention to the haters, bestie. Attempt number 292911... ... Let's go. Parentheses, then let's get healthy. So we can help others and travel and make meaningful content. We're never getting to step 1 of the glow up arc, I don't think. I really don't think we are. I don't think it's possible. I don't see it. I don't see it for Miss Chantal Marie Chantal show. Not at all, not even a little bit. Anyways, what are your thoughts about Chantal? Let me know down below. Just so good. It makes me laugh, honestly, more than anything. She is just like so hypocritical. She is so bad at like not giving energy to the haters, and that she doesn't realize that that's why they continue to prosper. That's why they continue to be successful. It's like she has gotten them put up on this pedestal of like being important to her, even if they're important to her for a bad reason, you know? And so people flock to that. They want to go to the places that Chantal doesn't like to give those people energy and attention because they want to dunk on Chantal. So the more energy she gives all of that, the more success they'll have, to be honest with you. She's only helping them, in my opinion. Anywho, that's all I got. That's all I have for today. If this is your first time watching, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I love you all so much, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!